I was born into poverty in a one-room cabin on a winter's day in 1809. My family had little, and life was about survival. My mother, Nancy, was a guiding light in those early years. She taught me to read, pushing me to learn even when books were rare treasures. My father, Thomas, was a hard man, weary from the hardships of frontier life. He expected me to follow in his footsteps as a laborer, clearing forests and plowing fields, but my dreams stretched beyond the wilds of Kentucky. I was drawn to stories, to words, and to ideas that seemed out of reach in our quiet, isolated world. My mother died when I was 9, leaving a void in my heart that would never fully heal. Soon after, my father remarried, and my new stepmother, Sarah, encouraged my education, becoming the second guiding figure in my life. She believed in my potential, even when my father dismissed my yearning to read as laziness. Those early years taught me about loss, resilience, and the power of small acts of kindness. As I grew older, my thirst for knowledge clashed with my duties on the farm. I devoured every book I could find, often walking miles just to borrow a single volume. I read Shakespeare, the Bible, Aesop's fables, and anything else I could get my hands on. Words became my escape, a window to a world beyond the harsh life I knew. But I was torn. My family relied on me, and while my heart ached for something more, my loyalty to them held me back. These years were marked by struggle, a battle between duty and the growing desire to carve my own path. In my teens, I worked odd jobs, splitting rails, ferrying goods, and even serving as a clerk. One mentor, a local judge named Mentor Graham, saw my potential and encouraged me to study law. I had never imagined such a future for myself, yet his belief sparked something in me. I realized I didn't have to be confined by my humble origins, that maybe, just maybe, I could leave a mark on this world. Young adulthood was a time of personal struggle. I faced heartache, financial hardship, and a deep-seated fear of failure. I fell in love with a woman named Anne Rutledge, but she died tragically young, leaving me devastated. Her loss was a blow that nearly broke me, and for a time I considered giving up on everything. Depression took hold, and I felt the weight of the world pressing down. During these dark days, I was filled with self-doubt. I questioned my worth and my purpose. Yet through it all, a quiet resilience kept me moving forward. I threw myself into my work, and with every small victory, I began to see a glimmer of hope. The pain didn't disappear, but it became a part of me, a reminder of life's fragile beauty and of the strength I'd need to face the challenges ahead. My journey into politics began humbly, with a seat in the Illinois state legislature. I was awkward, self-taught, and lacking the polish of my peers, yet I believed deeply in the values of freedom and equality. Law and politics became my path to make a difference, to uplift others who, like me, felt trapped by circumstances. But success came at a steep price. I faced political rivals who questioned my every move, friendships strained by ambition, and nights haunted by the cost of my decisions. Mary Todd became my wife, a strong-willed woman from a wealthy Kentucky family. Our marriage was complex. She believed in my potential, but our lives were often marked by turmoil and disagreement. I was absent from home more than I was there, pursuing a political career that demanded my time, energy, and soul. My children grew up in a household filled with both love and sorrow, and I often feared that my choices would leave them with burdens too heavy to bear. The presidency brought trials I never could have imagined. The nation was divided, and I bore the weight of keeping it together. The Civil War tore families apart and drained the spirit of our country. Every decision felt like a knife's edge. Each choice seemed to risk thousands of lives and our nation's future. The Emancipation Proclamation was my declaration, my line in the sand, though it was met with fierce opposition. The decision to free the enslaved people wasn't just about policy, it was about humanity. I saw no other path forward, but the responsibility nearly crushed me. Behind closed doors, I agonized over the death toll and the endless bloodshed. My heart broke with each casualty report, and the cries of mothers and fathers haunted my nights. I felt isolated, burdened, and at times overwhelmed by the enormity of the task. Yet I pressed on, believing that preserving the Union and ending slavery was worth every sacrifice, even if it meant my own. As the war drew to an end, I felt a strange mix of relief and sorrow. I knew I'd never be the same, and the strain of the years had left its mark. My face bore the lines of every hard-fought battle, and my soul felt weighed down by grief. I began to think about the legacy I'd leave behind, the world I hoped to build for future generations. Yet I also felt a sense of incompletion, a longing for more time to heal the wounds of this nation, to guide it toward a new beginning. In my final days, I pondered what might have been. There was so much left unfinished, so much I wanted to achieve. I hoped my life would be remembered as one of service, of a man who rose from nothing to lead a divided country, even at great personal cost. As I walked toward the end, I found a bittersweet peace in knowing that I'd given all I had, even if I wouldn't live to see the fruits of my labor. My life taught me that true strength lies not in power, but in empathy. I believed in the dignity of every human being, in the power of unity, and in the value of hard work and perseverance. I wasn't a perfect man, far from it, but I hoped my actions showed a heart dedicated to justice and compassion. In the end, I valued the legacy of kindness over ambition, the power of conviction over fame, and the resilience to stand by one's principles, no matter the cost. When people remember me, I hope they see more than just a leader. I hope they see a man who believed deeply in the promise of America. My wish is that my life reminds others that greatness is not reserved for the privileged, that anyone from any background can rise to make a difference. Let my story stand as a beacon of resilience, as proof that with courage and compassion, we can all leave this world a little better than we found it.
With Lincoln's last reflections, we close the chapter on a life that defied limits and transformed a nation. His journey reminds us that true strength is born of vulnerability, that the courage to persevere lives in every heart, and that a legacy built on purpose is a gift beyond measure. And so, we leave the story of Abraham Lincoln, a man who rose from nothing, faced unimaginable hardships, and carried the weight of a fractured nation on his shoulders. His life reminds us that true greatness is born from resilience, that purpose is found in service, and that even the most extraordinary legacies are built one hard choice at a time. As we close this chapter, may we take with us his enduring belief in the power of empathy, courage, and conviction. Thank you for joining us in this journey into the life of Abraham Lincoln. If his story inspired you, be sure to subscribe for more explorations into the lives of those who shaped our world.